When Stan Lee created Iron Man, he said that he wanted to do something really special, and in fact he did. So how did you approach the character in order to make him so special? Did you give kind of a personal touch to it?
I figured, and when I was talking to Jon Favreau, the director, we knew that what we could bring to it was a sense of realism and also stay true to how we're perceived as having done some more smaller indie movies with more of a sense of improvisation and realism.
Were you a fan of Marvel comics, of Marvel superheroes? What's so special about them?
Well, I think the whole Marvel universe is it's a really interesting bunch of myths that kind of come together in these different men and women. And then Tony Stark and Iron Man was, of course, a more modern technological superhero, in so much as that the only stuff he has is what he builds.
Yet he's not really part of the mainstream culture in US, but in Europe as well. Why for you?
Probably because there was a bit of onus on the fact that historically, don't trust anyone over 30. The military-industrial complex is corrupt and evil. So all these things that are kind of like, it reminds me of the type stuff that my family was talking about, being kind of a bit of a hippie family back in the 60s,
This film is about a man who finds his own heart, who finds his true self. Have you found your own art, your true self? What and how?
Well, I mean, in Iron Man, it's very concrete. It's very obvious, I think that for us normal folk, it's more of a process and the whole thing. But it's really funny. I didn't think that doing this movie was going to wind up being part of my spiritual path. It seems so ridiculous. How can you say that a superhero movie can wind up being so part of your own growth? And I think, again, it comes down to Jon Favreau and the fact that Gwyneth Paltrow and Jeff Bridges and Terrence Howard all joined us to do this movie. It just seemed like an interesting group of people got together.
You've done a number of independent films working with, Shane Black, Dito Montiel, or Richard Linklater, and also your choices in Hollywood were very interesting. So what does it mean for you to be an independent actor? And on the other side, do you think that Hollywood is changing? Because films are dealing now with social and moral issues from what we see.
I think it's largely a response to what the audiences want. A small film like Little Miss Sunshine can suddenly turn into an event like it never was before, and huge superhero movies can crash and burn because the word of mouth and the internet, they say, this doesn't give us what we expected. So I think it's becoming much more of a democracy, and the men and women in that democracy are saying they want quality regardless of size.